This is the reason why trading is one of, if not the greatest skill to be acquired, you know. And today was a very, very, very good day, you know. No complaints about today. And I'm just honestly just grateful of how today played out. Today taught me a lot. It's not even about the profits today. I learned so much from trading today. You know, I ended up taking one trade that I took 2 inches on. I didn't even use my regular size. I really scaled down the size, and I ended up still making my daily target, and that is just so good. That is really a confidence booster. Um, just reaffirmation that I can actually do this. This thing is possible, and I can pull this off. Now, as you can see from my screen right here, this is the execution from today. I'll pull up the actual P&L chart. So this is the P&L. This is what came off today. I ended up making $360.76. I'm not out of drawdown yet. I'm still down, I think maybe about 500 and something dollars still, or 400 and something dollars still, because the current balance is, where do I find it? Where do I find it? The current balance is actually, where is it? Where do I find it? Because I made $300 today. I need to make, where's the statistics? So I'm still down $1,400 from my highest trade, and I actually I'm at 49,500 and call it 50. So I literally need 450 to get back out of drawdown and need an additional $1,000. So call it $1,500, and I'm back to where I was last week. What was it? Tuesday. And still paying the price from that big blunder that I had, and then now yesterday adding to it. But nevertheless, that's not even what today's video is about. Honestly, I'm just proud of today's execution, proud of my patience and the discipline. Even though I was a little bit overly cautious, I scaled back on the risk very significantly. It ended up paying just as same as if I had taken my regular size and taken a few points from a scalp. Now, like I said, today I only traded one account. I didn't even look at the challenge account today because I'm not forcing it. I didn't get the chance because the first setup that I saw I did not like and I did not take. So that resulted in me being off just watching, you know. And let me show you from today's execution. Let me actually zoom in right here. So this was today's execution. I took my first entry here. I literally waited and waited for a whole 5-minute inversion before I took that long, because we had sold off and I realized, yeah man, we're actually exhausted now and we could actually make this turn. And this, looking back at this even right now, this look like a nice market maker buy model from what I'm actually seeing here. So that is possibly the reason why we actually bought up, and the fact that we had sold enough, you know. I know this market not going to just continue selling like this. We've been having a few down days in July since we started this month, and you know, I didn't trust those sales. There were opportunities. Honestly, I should have capitalized on some of those, but they weren't in the cards for me, and so I missed out. So I took my first entry here, very small size, and I had my stops all the way below here, below the lows. I was risking $50 on that trade. He went into a bit of profit here, and then he started to pull back, which I anticipated, and that's why I put my stops all the way down here. And I was just saying to myself, if we actually come below this low, then I'm going to take off the trade. I'm going to just close it if we come below, if we actually close there. And this is the amount of drawdown that I actually went in today. And this is literally, let me see, from top to bottom, this is about 60 points. This is not a lot of drawdown, especially in these very volatile markets. And I didn't want it to be a case where I tried to execute from too early, because honestly, usually I would start buying from right here. You know, that's what I normally do. Start buying from right here. But if I was looking for that today, then I would have tried here, tried here, and all of that. And I'm trying to avoid that. So I waited, we came into very discounted price, and that's where I pulled the trigger when we inverted the gap. And then when we came back into a little bit of drawdown, and I realized we're not going to sell off, we're holding this low. I just trusted once we engulfed this down close candle. We came back, did a retest here, perfect retest. And then we started to turn back, and I waited for like 2 or 3 candles. I was actually watching the 5 minute when I pulled the trigger here on the second entry. And honestly, I should have added a bigger size, but I wanted to just stick to a very minimal risk. So the risk on this trade was maybe about $80. And like I said, I was holding, and if this one had came back down here, I would have cut it right here, and the next one I would have maybe cut down there. So it played out very beautiful. This was the only drawdown. This one virtually no drawdown. We immediately took off, and I was watching, but because of how late into the session this was literally midday New York time. So this is around 11 o'clock my time. And I was just watching, and I was saying, I could have added into this trade, because this was an entry here, this was another entry here. I could have added twice, but I didn't want to add the risk, and my confidence wasn't at the highest, and I didn't want to put on too much risk. And I just hold that trade in the play out all the way to the top here, I close here, and we actually went a little bit higher, but I was satisfied, because from here rejecting, even the push up here, I almost take off the trade. And when I saw this, I was saying, it looked like it's going reverse, And I was saying, if we actually invert this gap and start selling off, I was watching the 5 minute, I'm going to just close. And then by the time I look back at it, I literally minimize this 1 minute chart, switch to the 15 minute, and I was looking at the higher time frame and saying, if we actually do XYZ, then I'm going to close. And we didn't do that, so I just held on a little bit longer. And right here is the 4-hour open from 10 a.m. As soon as we started to flip, I realized that we kind of just basing out or tapping off right there. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to just take that for the day, because I'm above my daily target. I want to recover some of the losses that I made, but that wasn't the aim, honestly. And also, I did not want to make too much that it push up the average too much, and then now I mess up the consistency rule that I need to get some bigger and bigger and bigger days, and take me longer to reach to payout. So I just close out there and cool, I run a little bit, and when I realize it rejecting, I just take off the other one. And I was distracted because I was working at the same time. We did this push up after, and when I realized it actually come back down, and when I saw this, I ended up closing back here. But I should have just held that run a little bit longer. Maybe I would have locked in an extra $50 to the highs here. But it was a good trade. This is nothing, because I was holding literally 0.01 from here all the way over to here. and I was saying, say we push up, run the highs, the 4 hour close, and I was just looking at this one that maybe we can pull down and then push up back. So I just say, you know what, that is it for me. I just go and take off this and I close at the last 20 something dollars from here. Up here, I think it maybe was up maybe 40 something dollars or so from the amount of points right there. But great trading day. These are the kind of days that I like. And if I was full time, today was one of the days where maybe I would have been on the chart a little bit longer, but the patience would have paid off. Patience would have been very good in paying today because I did not execute too many times. I did not have to over risk or over leverage. And look at this thing, it's actually still going up. It's just the rules on this account. I'm not allowed to swing over the session and the session ends here. And I just decided to just close. But very good session, very good day. Proud of my performance. I just need to have days like this and I will be perfectly fine. So giving you the higher time framework now and showing you what I was thinking today. So last night when I woke up, I saw the market here, and in the morning when I got up, we had already sold all of this, and I was saying, whoa, looks like we're going to continue selling off, But I know how this market operate by now. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think even if we're going to continue selling off like that, the bearish pressure isn't that strong to have us just continue selling off. So we took out the levels that I was watching. I think it was the daily order block here from yesterday. The fact that we traded so deep through it, I was looking at this other one and know that we can get a next reaction from this one. So I trusted it and it actually paid. It's just that on these accounts you can't really put on too much risk, but I would be buying some decent chunks if I was actually even swing trading. I would have set limit orders at the neckline of this daily candle and at the 50% here where we actually came to. And I think now this could be the low of the month. We actually took out this liquidity. We don't need to come all the way down here. Unless we have some geopolitical escalation and all of that. I don't think we need to come all the way down there to take out. I don't see an objective for us to come down here. So this should be enough, and we could do another little retest here and then continuing up. But currently we are halfway through the week, only Thursday and Friday left, so expecting us to continue back into these highs. So let us see what we get going into tomorrow. But as you can see from my chart at the moment, we already came up and we actually took out the previous daily high, which is today's high, which is expected from how we close. Literally gap up. This is the first 4 hour candle right here, and gap up and just run the highs there. So expecting us maybe to trade back down a bit into this down close candle, even though we tested it already, but just to form a better wick on this daily candle. So form the manipulation on this daily candle, maybe trade down into the neckline open of this candle or even a little further, and then we can continue up. But expecting us to trade up into this week tomorrow and Friday. So 2 more days left in the trading week and we're looking good. US 500 on the weaker side, we didn't manage to flip back green and close green. We actually flipped green, but we did not manage to close green. So a little bit of a divergence there, so we could actually pull back, as I say, and then continue up. US 30 is the opposite. We sold off, tried to bounce, did not hold, and so we ended up closing pretty much a little bit off the low of the day and the low of the session. And if I should look at gold, Gold, not so clean price action today, but nice little sell off here and then recovery later on in the day. So, some great moves happening in these markets. You just have to be keen, be cautious, and just try to capitalize on some of these moves. So, going quickly now to the 1 hour time frame. Like I said, not the cleanest of price action today when you look at this chart. This is the daily chart for Wednesday, and we opened right here. This is the daily range. Open right here, traded up, and then end up just ranging, pulling back. And then when we open after midnight going into London, we literally rip down, sell off. And this move up in less than like about 15 to 20 minutes. We spend the rest of the session trying to buy right back up. And honestly, I woke up in the morning and see this, and I was going to take a trade here because I actually know we were going to recover. I was going to take a trade here, the fact that we had engulfed this. So this is my signal. And when we actually come down and retest that 1 hour bar, I knew that we could have actually went up. So I could have taken one entry there and just hold this up, and this would have been enough for me. But I'm trying to stick to one session, and because I'm in drawdown, I don't want to be trading all over the place and messing up the or measure the data. So I didn't even take it on the challenge account. So we ended up recovering. When we ended up closing up here, we ended up selling off again right at the 10 o'clock open. 10 o'clock just brought us right back down. And we ended up selling off back right at 10. So this 10 o'clock candle open right here. No manipulation. I was thinking, no, this kind of weird. The fact that we close up here, I knew we weren't going to just continue buying up because we're in a downtrend technically. So I was waiting to see what exactly was going to happen. And that was the reason why I didn't execute any buys right there, because people were selling. I was even watching another guy's stream and he was actually saying expect sales, but I wasn't confident in the sell, and we actually delivered, but in a high resistance. I was looking at here as a nice little OB to sell from, but I don't really like taking trades like that. It wasn't a part of my plan, and the fact that we have liquidity resting up here, I knew that was a easier target than just selling back down. I don't know why we would have came back down here. So the fact that we kind of engulfed the sell off, there is no way we're going to have one down close candle, another up close candle, and then another down close candle taking out back the lower there. So that was my narrative behind taking that move from a technical perspective. So when I saw us selling off, taking out some of these internal liquidities from London and pre-market session, I was just saying, let me see how far this thing going go. But when I saw us come down into here, so this is actually an order block and a fair value gap overlapping, and we respected here. This was where I took my entry. Honestly, if I was not in drawdown, I would have literally slammed this trade. This trade would have been a banger trade right here. Big banger trade I would have gotten and catch this expansion back to this high and left a runner, and I would have possibly caught this part here. But I did great today, and I'm not going to cry over, I didn't make any mistakes. So there's always going to be more profit. There's always going to want to add risk and all of that, and I'm not going to complain about that. So that's the 15-minute time frame, and let me look at the trading view now for the actual trade. So like I said, this was the execution. This came inside of the macro here, and beautiful entry. I closed up here, but this is just for the thumbnail. I held all the way to here and closed the next part over here. So I held through all of that. This part of the delivery was the part that I didn't like. So if you realize you try to sell here, no manipulation on the 10 10 o'clock open. 9:30 we just sprinted up. There's no way for you to catch this, and I wasn't going to jump into that. So I watched all of that. And if you realize, if you try to sell here, waiting for inversion, if you take it down here, your stops have to be all the way up here. If you try to sell it here, then that's not enough confirmation on this kind of move. So I just waited and stayed out. And if you realize, anywhere you sold it, if you did not have the stops wide enough, then this thing would have came back on you. And that was what I was expecting, and that's why I didn't try to sell it. So we actually did sell, but I wasn't confident in it. I could have taken an entry maybe inside of this macro here, or even from this inversion here. There was ways you could have approached this, but I wasn't confident on those trades because I wasn't bearish. We closed the 4-hour candle all the way up here, literally no wick to the upside. Even if we pull back, I knew we weren't going to sell far. So I was willing to either not take any trades or wait for the buy setup. And we got the buy, and for that I'm very grateful. So high resistance delivery, as I said, every time we drop a retrace, spike back up here, this would have tricked me. I would have thinking we would have reversed here from this type of delivery, consolidate till we finally break down, and then now come back up. So this was the best trade in my opinion over here. Later on in the session, this was also a decent one right at 6 a.m. Little manipulation on the 4-hour open, and you could have found entries inside of this macro right here, another entry here, one more here, and one more here. These are where we were just respecting the M5 fair value gap, and right here as well. Now this sell a little bit risky. I think this was caused by some type of headline or something. And you could have gotten in here, but with a wider stop. This is literally a 100-point stop. With a 0.1 on my account, it's $100 risk, even though you caught 350 something points coming down. But not my type of setup. I rather try to get a better entry up here, but still a good move if you are a momentum trader. So this wasn't the cleanest, but there was still a move. In Asia, I was actually watching this when I was heading home from work. This part right here wasn't bad. This part was, I just avoided it. But great trading day overall. We had opportunities in all 3 sessions. But that is where we wrap things up for this video. Hoping for a nice wrap up to this week. But regardless, we give thanks, grateful for the execution. And it's not even about the money. It's just following your rules, following your plan, and just sticking to what you know, and just being patient and disciplined. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.